Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, we got to read about a coffin full of organs, a doctor full of organs, a TV that you put your face through, the microphone that steals your voice and says weird things, and probably the witch from Hansel and Gretel. In this episode, we're going to be reading about a notebook, the Cartesian business card, Ice Spider, Ursa Minor, and the Ghoul. So we get to finish off this week's episodes with more animals. Although I don't know if spiders count as animals, because I'm not sure if insects count as animals or just insects. And spiders aren't even insects either, they're arachnids, so I don't know. Still going to probably title it about around the animals. So, notebook! It's safe. Looks like it's a shopping list. SCP-546 is to be contained in a secured lockbox. Access is restricted only to Level 2 research staff directly assigned to 546. A full log of all used sheets, date used, inscribed data, and subject exposed is to be kept along with SCP item. At no point should 546 or any of the sheets leave the quarantine room. Alright. 546 consists of a single pad of spiral-bound lined blank brand notepaper. 546 measures 15 centimeters by 23 centimeters and currently consists of 57 sheets out of the original 60. Besides its anomalous effects, the item has no other outstanding characteristics. When a subject inscribes on 546 with any writing instrument, they begin to experience a cognitive breakdown. Any inscribed word or phrase will begin to interject itself into the subject's speech and writing. The frequency of the phrase will continue to rise over the course of time. After approximately 24 hours, the subject is unable to write and speak anything other than the phrase they had written down. Removal of sheets does not affect the properties of the item. Although there is serious mental distress from losing the ability to communicate with others, affected subjects have been shown to be able to continue living on with this new disability. Cognitive abilities are not directly affected, and subjects are able to nod and shake their heads in response to simple yes or no questions. Experiment log! Disposable 5463931. Sheet 55. February the 12th of something, South Dixie Drive. They were then asked to read from the Canterbury Tales out loud. About 30 minutes into the novel, the subject interjected with the phrase South Dixie Drive directly into her dialogue. She was assured that this would be normal and asked to continue. The phrase came up again at the 45-minute mark. By this time, they refused to keep reading and asked to see a doctor. Frequency continued to escalate over the next 14 hours when they were sedated due to a violent outburst and an assistant. When the subject awoke 8 hours later, her vocabulary consisted entirely of the phrase South Dixie Drive, which it says there. Okay. Disposable... same one. Sheet 55. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dogs. The subject was instructed to write the above phrase they were told that writing it would cure their condition. They were unable to write the phrase. Okay. Different person. 3880. Same page. Bread, eggs, milk, cheese. They are Hispanic male whose primary language is Spanish. After writing down the test phrase, they were asked to sing the words of the Spanish version of Happy Birthday out loud until asked to stop. The first instance of the phrase occurred in English after approximately 25 minutes. The subject was calmed down and then asked to continue singing the song, except this time in English. This time the phrase did not occur until after 2 hours had passed. A written test phrase later did not produce the same anomaly. Okay, subject, disposable dude 3950, or disposable person. Sheet 55, March 24th something, phrase 5551234. The subject is a deaf individual who lost his hearing a few years before arriving at the Foundation. Although written text follows the same pattern as above, his ability to sign was never affected. After several weeks of monitoring, it was determined that his ability to use sign language was unaffected by 546. Sign language classes are being provided to subjects 3931 and 3880 to further study the effect of 546. Interesting. So next up is the Cartesian business card, or Cartesian business card, however you say it. It's safe. SCP-547 is to be stored inside a plain black envelope, which is, in turn, is to be stored in the security deposit box located in Dr. Blank's office. No Foundation employee is to access 547 without the doctor's consent, and the item itself should only be handled by test subjects. Please note that any persons exposed to its effects are subject to disposable dude status. 547 is an off-white standard-sized business card, 85 by 55 millimeters for blank blank, a licensed hypnotherapist from blank UK. The front of the card is unremarkable and inert. On the reverse the phrase "Je pense donc" is written in black ballpoint pen. The modified side of 547 is a cognito hazard and should be treated with the relevant precautions. In all cases, reading and understanding the phrase has ultimately resulted in a complete loss of personality and a greatly reduced awareness of self. Such subjects have been able to perform most basic tasks, and nearly all are still capable of speech. Subjects, however, are incapable of any subjective thought and emotion beyond the rational and immediate. The effects of 547 are degenerative, with full manifestation occurring approximately 10 weeks after exposure. Several stages have been observed. On the first week, no substantial change in personality. They may occasionally forget personal details or answer to a name other than their own. 1 to 6 weeks, they begin to show confusion as to their own identity and key facts regarding their lives. See Interview A for further details. 6 to 9 weeks, subjects begin to regress towards the final stage of infection. Mannerisms and turn of phrase associated with the subject begin to disappear, and speech begins to lack inflection and emotion. At 10 weeks and beyond, physical and cognitive effects previously described are fully manifest. See Interview B for further details. And first off, from Dr. Blank Blank to OVI Blank regarding 547. In response to your previous email, subjects are unable to recall any previous experiences in an emotional context and are completely incapable of subjective thought. I would like to suggest that due to their predictable behavior, subjects exposed to 547 will make perfect control groups for any other psychohazards or cognito hazards we may encounter. Regards, Blank. From O5 Blank to Dr. Blank Blank. I would like the subjects D547 Alpha through Gamma prepped for transport by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. You can expect more requests of this nature in the future. So, Interview 1, or A. Subject Tao is a Caucasian male, age 35 time since exposure 5 weeks 2 days. Good morning, Subject Tao. I'm Dr. Blank. Records say your name is Blank Blank. Is that correct? It is. Very good. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where should I start? Well, how about a little regarding your early life? Any happy memories? Oh, yes. Every summer my parents used to rent this place in Maine. I loved it there. Sandy beaches, those quaint little lighthouses, lobster dinners. I remember my mom telling me, Henry, Hang on, can I stop you there? Why did your mother refer to you as Henry? Because that's my name. You confirmed your name as blank blank 30 seconds ago. I did? Please continue. Like I was saying, my mom always said, Marcus, if there was ever a paradise here on Earth, this would be it. Man, I love that clean air, all that green, nothing like BC in the spring. British Columbia? Only BC I know of. Tell me about your parents. Decent people, both came from Blank, Kentucky, born and raised. My dad loved his bikes, named me after one. Got some ribbing at school for that. Harley ain't all that common of a name, you know. He was a good man, though, loved his pa. Says leaving him at the boarding gate back in Blank was the saddest day of his life, but a man's gotta make his own way in the world, I guess. So he emigrated from Blank? Yes, but he was born in Kentucky. That's right. Would you mind confirming your name and the last place you lived, please? Jacob Maddox, Austin, Texas. And again? Paul Jones, I'm from Cardiff. It's in the UK, and again. David Pollock, Birdseye, Utah. I don't understand why you're asking. I've already told you. Again. Remainder of interview classified. 05 clearance required. Oh. Interview 2. Is it the same dude? Yep. 12 weeks since exposure. Good morning, Tao. Good morning. I'd like to perform some tests today. Please follow the written directions on the sheet in front of you. You have 15 minutes. Perform several tests designed to highlight any loss in cognitive function. Results are negative. Good. Now I'm going to show you a few pictures. Can you tell me what this is? Blue sky with clouds. What do you think of it? I don't know. How about this one? It's a man. He's dead. His throat's been cut. Any thoughts on this? Used to hate this picture. It's an image of a dead human printed on photograph quality paper, high gloss. Not quite what I was getting at. You have no opinion of it whatsoever. No. Moving on then, according to your profile, you suffered from arachnophobia. Dr. Blank releases a large but otherwise unremarkable house spider onto subject Tao's arm. Heart rate does not rise above 65 beats per minute. Nothing? It's been 3 weeks since I've been able to elicit any sort of human response from you. Let's try something else. Do you know what this is? A blowtorch. Doctor activates the blowtorch and moves it towards Tao's arm, causing the subject to flinch. His heart rate jumps to 135 beats per minute. Well, that's alright. Next up is the ice spider. First, though, I want to see what Cartesian means. It means relating to Descartes and his ideas, a follower of Descartes. and he's a French philosopher. And what's this on Google? Celebrating James Wong Howe. Okay. Anyway, the ice spider. Oh! It's kind of pretty. SCP-548 is to be kept at 24 degrees Celsius in a 50 by 50 centimeter terrarium. The enclosure is to be composed of modified borosilicate glass with a high thermal shock resistance, or of other materials not rendered brittle by sudden temperature changes of greater than 50 degrees Celsius. In the event that SCP-548 makes an active attempt to grind through the terrarium walls, the enclosure is to be flooded immediately with 500 milliliters of liquid nitrogen, and the subject removed temporarily to a reinforced steel terrarium. So it is to be fed mice 1 every 4 days. Do tarantulas actually eat mice? I don't know. I've never thought about it. 548 should not be handled except as needed for testing. Handlers must be at least cursorily familiar with tarantula behavior and wear heavily insulated gloves. Should subject display any aggressive behavior, cease handling promptly. If bitten, personnel should be treated immediately for hypothermia and frostbite. Active intrathoracic warming with heated fluids is indicated for severe bites. Description: SCP-548 is a female cobalt tarantula, 7.3 centimeters long. Are there actually blue tarantulas? Also, Cereopagopus lividus. Its venom undergoes a highly endothermic reaction on contact with living tissue. A single bite injecting less than 0.5 milliliters of venom causes an average temperature drop of 38 degrees Celsius in the affected area. One bite is sufficient to cause localized frostbite in a human and may even be lethal should the venom reach the central circulatory system. Victims smaller than SCP-548 are frequently frozen solid. 548's feeding structures are normal for a spider of its species except for the maxillae, which are extremely hard and serrated. It feeds by delivering a venomous bite, then dragging the prey to a safe place while it cools. While secluded, it proceeds to grind the prey's still frozen tissue into edible fragments. This feeding style requires unusual mouthpart strength. Addendum: 548, like most Cereopagopus species, usually avoids contact with humans. If concerned, however, it quickly turns aggressive, attempting to bite its perceived attacker before fleeing. The object may be frozen solid with no apparent ill effects. It has survived repeated freezings, each time resuming normal behavior upon thawing. Further research is required to ascertain the mechanism of this resistance and to determine its suitability for long-term storage. Addendum 2. It is possible that the same anomalous effect that was historically responsible for 2082 may now be affecting 548. Research into this link is currently underway using 2082 tissue samples preserved following Incident 2082 Prime. Proposals to resume the SCP-2082 cloning program for use of a live specimen have been denied. Next up is Ursa Minor. Is it the constellation or an actual bear? Well, it's the Euclid. SCP-549 is to be kept at all times in its terrarium. Okay, I guess it's not a bear. The terrarium was created after previous containment proved to be insufficient. The containment plexiglass is to be checked for fractures every day at 6 a.m. to 1800 hours. Any signs of stress or wear are to be reported immediately. I guess that's probably 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Reported immediately to one of 549's handlers. The terrarium is to be kept filled with miniature foliage and ground cover resembling that of northwestern North America. Fabrication company redacted is to be used for repairs on the terrarium's interior. A stream has been engineered to run through the terrarium, the water of which must be changed daily, using only filtered spring water. The terrarium is to be kept within 15 by 15 meter room, placed on a stable support platform capable of holding up 2 metric tons in the event that 549 begins to throw its weight around. The containment room should be lit in accordance with the day-night cycle and climate controlled in accordance with conditions in northwestern Canada. During summer and autumn months, 549 requires upwards of 70,000 to 80,000 calories per day in preparation for its hibernation period. Okay, sounds like it is a bear. Just it might be a small bear. Because of 549's special situation, it is inefficient to provide the nutrition in the traditional means. It simply takes 549 too long to consume that much material. Currently, its diet is provided in the form of salmon fillets, which have passed through redacted, thus drastically increasing the caloric content of the fish. In winter and early spring, 549 requires little or no care, though monitoring should continue as per usual. Personnel assigned to 549 must take all care not to disturb its den by any means. As of Incident 549-72, the mauling of Assistant Researcher redacted by 549, all personnel assigned to it are required to watch security footage of Incident 72 as part of your orientation. SCP-549 appears to be a miniature version of Ursus arctos horribilis, or grizzly bear. In stature, it is approximately 17 centimeters in length when standing on its hind legs. However, 549 has a mass in line with an average adult grizzly bear and somewhere around 305 kilograms. It consumes as much food as a full-size grizzly bear would, and is able to exert all the same force with its claws and bite. This presents a number of problems, since its strength is concentrated over a much smaller area. Several of 549's first enclosures were destroyed because it exerted far more force than expected of so small a creature. The walls of its current enclosure, treated with data expunged, have proven more able to resist any attempts to escape, though as long as it is fed regularly and not provoked, it seems content to remain in the terrarium. 549 was recovered in Blank, Canada, along with several other miniature animals. Though agents on site were unable to determine the cause of death for the others, 549's dietary requirements suggest that they may have died from starvation. Professor Blank Blank theorized that 549 only survived because it was in its hibernation state at the time when data expunged. Subject had a collar affixed to similar to the other data expunged, with the etched designation Ursa Minor / Dr. Wondertainment's Micromenagerie. Dr. Wondertainment is getting to be just as bad as the factory, I swear. Several personnel were harmed in trying to remove the subject from data expunged, mostly because of its great weight and strength. How 549 seems to be of the same mass as a normal bear, but occupying a smaller space is currently unknown. Dr. Blank believes it may involve a warping of space-time rather than true shrinking. How physical laws have been circumvented is unknown, but tests are currently being formulated. And that brings us up to the Ghoul, which is Euclid. And it seems to have been recovered from a graveyard. SCP-550 is to be held in a standard-sized humanoid cell. 550 should be provided with a human corpse on a bi-weekly basis. Any remaining materials are to be cleaned and removed from the containment chamber after provision. All personnel handling 550 are to wear provided chemical-resistant gloves and hazmat suits at all times. Directions made towards 550 may be broadcast from speakers installed in its containment chamber, and should be used for transportation maintenance and testing. SCP-550 is a humanoid composed of wood shavings from Fraxinus excelsior, European ash, measuring 2.1 meters in height and 70 kilograms in weight. It closely resembles a human male suffering from advanced muscle atrophy, though it lacks all exterior and bodily organs. 550 is mainly compliant to human subjects, though it is restricted to following simple commands. Conversation through alternative systems of communication has been unsuccessful in determining if 550 is sapient. It is able to smell despite the lack of any sensory organs, and does this solely for the purpose of locating human corpses. SCP-550 is mainly drawn towards corpses in early stages of putrefaction. If no such cadavers in the vicinity, it will attempt to locate one itself through bipedal locomotion. Upon finding a cadaver, 550 will unravel itself to create a wide split in the area where a chest would be, and will kneel over the cadaver and make physical contact with the cavity. This cavity does not appear to be different from its exterior, and it secretes high concentrations of hydrochloric acid. The acid produced by 550 does not dissolve the wood it is covered in. It is capable of incorporating simple molecules and compounds through its cavity. The hydrochloric acid it produces is used in breaking down organic substances located in corpses, allowing it to take nutrients through pores in the wood it is composed of. 550 mainly intakes amino acids and various proteins, though it is unclear how it uses them to maintain itself. 550 will continue making contact with its chosen corpse before closing its chest cavity and standing up. It will then release a slurry of materials, mostly containing loose portions of epidermis, articles of clothing if present on the corpse, and stomach bile. When deprived of corpses for several days, 550 will enter a dormant state and refrain from movement for an indefinite period of time until a corpse is available. Addendum 550 Recov. It was found at the site of a mass grave in Blank, South Africa. Foundation intelligence was made aware of rumors being passed between locals regarding a ghoul, descriptions of which had some marked deviation from traditional folklore. MTF Beta 7 Mass Hatters was dispatched with orders to confirm the existence of a potential Euclid-class being and to retrieve it on the Foundation's behalf. 28 corpses were found to have been damaged by 550, and Protocol Sown Veil was enacted to restore bodies to acceptable conditions. Several ritualistic items such as incense, candles, pieces of a large cloth stained with various bodily fluids, utensils, pots, plates, and various salts and spices were found scattered throughout the graveyard. One person was reported missing in the town of 550's original location, a local resident named Sayan de Blanc. No corpse has been found that matches the civilian. Other town members claimed that Blank had been making their regular trips to a neighboring town prior to their disappearance. On a search of the civilian's home, a voicemail from a public phone located in Redacted was found. No other evidence of a possible involvement with SCP-550 was discovered. The following is translated from the Bantu language belonging to the Zulus. We know you feel it in you. I know you do not want to answer me. You need to come. We are here to open those shredded bonds. Never mind their state. You're famished, yet you're not hungry. Or do you expect to hide from what you need? A feminine voice can be heard whispering for 4 seconds before the caller makes a sound of approval. Kitiwi says she is prepared, so now it is only up to you. Do you not want to let it burn through your bones, mixing you into the slime from where we began? Do you not want to become one with the saliva of the beast, soaking in the juices of your kin? You know what to do. We want to bring ourselves inside the beast. This is not something you should be afraid of. Further unknown background noises are heard. See, Slindile has already brought forth her tendons, fresh. Just look at her pinch the eye out. Lord, I can't wait to feel what it's like inside him. Addendum A1, April 19, 2011. Analysis of 550 skin sample shows the presence of mucosal cells and microvilli and confirms skin pigmentation is melanin. Dr. Blank has suggested an authorized MRI scan without sedation. Scan postponed following incident T1. Incident T1 at 3:43 blank 2000 something. Surveillance showed that 550 had begun pacing its cell during research of its dormant state. Agent Blank and Dr. Blank were given permission to investigate. Surveillance footage shows that the standard Foundation procedure was followed and no abnormalities were found until personnel left. 550 immediately lay down in its cell until a large black tongue, anatomically human, erupted from within 550. Site 36 was placed under lockdown, while the tongue protruding from 550 had begun slathering the entirety of its containment cell. 2 minutes and 14 seconds had passed before the tongue withdrew into 550. An amount of black viscous saliva containing various amounts of organic material from all previously consumed corpses was left on the containment chamber walls, along with what appeared to be a traditional black Zulu dress. Thorough analysis of this material revealed significant titers of a heavily modified variant strain of SCP-742. Additional analysis of genetic material, including the accompanying viral particles, showed significant splicing and incorporation of functional genes from a variety of plants and several scavenger species, aligning with genetic analysis of recovered samples of SCP-3140. Shortly after Incident T1, the tongue belonging to 550 has been recorded to randomly protrude from 550's chest cavity for several seconds. 550 has resorted to remaining in fetal position, presumably to prevent an event similar to the recent incident. No further deviation in behavior have been noted. Containment procedures are currently being updated. Well, that's weird. So, that was the ghoul, preceded by a notebook, a business card, a spider, and a bear! Anywho, this has been Anachi Sasuke. This is episode 120 of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next episode, we're going to start with the impossible puzzle and go up through the corpse magnet. They should probably just give the corpse magnet to the ghoul, or maybe they shouldn't do that. It depends entirely on what the corpse magnet does. Does it make corpses come towards it, or does it make corpses, period? Who knows? We'll find out next time. So, thanks for watching. If you liked it, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you don't need to do either one of those things, and I will see y'all on the next one. Later.